Hey everyone, I'm John Lynn, the founder and chief editor at Healthcare IT Today. We're excited to bring you another in our series of interviews with top leaders in health IT. We're here at the HIMSS 2023 conference in Chicago, and our guest is Irad Deutsch. He's founder and CTO of Belong.life. Welcome, Irad.
Thank you, John, for having me.
Yeah, excited to have this discussion. We interestingly met in Israel
Right.
a few months back, and I love that you're here in the U.S. Sharing your message. But before we dive into the work you do, tell us about yourself and Belong.life.
Okay, cool. So I'm the CTO and co-founder of Belong.life. Belong was founded about 7 years ago. And as a CTO, I kind of run all the tech and everything that drives our patient engagement platform that I'll elaborate in a moment. Belong is my first experience with the healthcare industry. I was for many years a big data kind of guy that kind of play with data, drive businesses, bottom lines and stuff. And then like 7 years ago, almost 8 years ago, my mom was diagnosed with cancer. And then as a data guy, I felt like clueless. I didn't know what to do. And I was the master of data, but I had no data to play with and answer all bunch of questions. A year into into her diagnosis, I felt like I know a lot, but that was too late for my mom. But then I thought, well, with my colleagues that we established quite a few startups in this industry, and we sold many of them, say, hey, let's make something that can use data to drive patient journeys in a better way. And that's why we founded Belong. Fast forward, Belong today is the world's largest social network for cancer and for MS, with 1 out of 10 cancer patients in the US on the platform, 1 out of 5 with multiple sclerosis, when we also do other things like psoriasis and Crohn, colitis, etc. And we do many things beyond that.
That's amazing. And I love that, everyone in healthcare seems to have a story like you just described,
Yeah.
right? That some experience that was bad and I want to help improve it. So it's great. And I actually love that we have people from outside of healthcare giving it a new view. And I think you've done that with Belong.life. Talk to us about what it takes to really have a patient community and what that looks like at Belong.life.
Yeah, so there's this term called patient engagement, and there's quite a few players in this space, but a lot of the patient engagement, solutions either have no patients or no engagement. Because the real problem, there are two main problems. Is first you need to find a patient and put him, drive him into a platform. Then you have to, keep him engaged, and then you should, if you want to keep them engaged over time, you cannot do a one-size-fits-all solution like a forum on the internet, or all those standard apps that you just need to fill up forms about symptoms and stuff. You need to provide constant value and personalized value. And that's the kind of magic of what we've built, because firsthand I experienced, being a caregiver to my mother, I experienced that I needed something to tackle her specific needs in her journey. That's the line of therapy, that symptom, that mutation, not just cancer, a lung cancer patient.
Sure.
So when we understand this right from the beginning, that we need to create something that is hyper-personalized to create this experience, and it is not simple. It took us quite a few years to build that up. So people are now, engaging in an average, 15 times a month, wow. Like every. So it's not like Facebook, right? But they're still engaging every other day with the app, because we provide constant value. The things that we provide are, first we connect them with patients, similar to them. And when I say similar, I say we have 2,000 machine learning classifiers that all they do is dig into every piece of information you put in, a document, a chat, a survey, whatever. And there is 2,000 classifiers that digs out data points like symptoms, drugs, emotional states, lifestyle elements. And then we understand who you are and where you are in the journey, so we can connect to people like you. Then we have experts to answer your questions. Every now and then you have a challenge, right? You have the symptom, you have a question about how can I exercise my rights. You have a question about I have a problem with my sex life. What can I do with that? So we're very holistic in a way. We provide dozens of experts that addresses your question. Then we have management tools. So you can organize all your documents. You can organize all your tasks. You'll see what other people like you did as a next step, and how was it for them. So not every day you have a symptom you need to deal with, but every day you have something that you need, and the app is there to assist you with. And so the silver bullet here is providing constant value for everything they do within the app. And that's something that took us quite a long time to build.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you're cutting through the signal and noise, right? I mean, that's the
Yeah.
problem is, Facebook has lots of patient communities, but how do you find one that's specific to you? And then, of course, how do you ensure the value there, which I think is a challenge for patients, right?
And in many ways, when you go into a Facebook group, you feel lost. There's a bunch of guys who kind of run the show over there, and you're afraid to ask questions because you're not anonymous. With Belong, it is very important to emphasize every patient can, and we actually encourage them to be anonymous. We ask them for a nickname. They can pick an avatar. Behind the anonymity curtain, they can ask anything they have on mind, and everyone else, jump in and answer from their experience. But at some point we understand, that we did it for cancer, and we did it very well. We're the world largest with cancer. If you go to the Google app or you go to the App Store, Apple App Store, you type in cancer, we'll be right at the top because we're the biggest. But then we say, okay, there's a lot of other problems on the planet, right? So we did MS. So we had to kind of take everything we've built and kind of shift it to another disease area. That was a challenge as well. Then we did other things. And then at some point we said, okay, my personal belief or goal or ambition is I want every patient that deals with a chronic illness of some sort to have, an app that can help him navigate. And it will take me forever to conquer the world, disease by disease.
Sure, there's too many.
Yeah, so our next move was to take everything we've built and make it into a SaaS platform.
Okay.
So now what we have is, everyone who kind of deal with patients, serve patients, if you're an advocacy group, if you're a pharma that has a patient support program, if you're a hospital, whatever, if you want to serve your patients in digital means, in the 20th century, then you can come to us, and you have a tenant with your logo, white labeled, with all our tech stack that I just mentioned, and you can use our technology to drive engagement and value to your users. So we don't have to play anything there except serving you the platform, and you use the platform with your team. So,
Interesting.
So that was a really big move that we did, and it's a huge success.
Yeah, that was my question is how do patients get on the platform? It sounds like they can go search for if they're a cancer patient and just download the app.
Right.
But do doctors recommend it? What's the onboarding process for a patient?
Yeah, so basically, we work a lot with advocacy. So advocacy drives their patients
Gotcha.
into the platform. And then we work with patient support programs, with pharmas and with hospitals that drives their patients. Well, a lot of patients hear about us from other patients. So about 50-60% of our users are kind of organic kind of growth. But yeah, we work with a lot of organization that drives their patients into the platform because they see the value in it. If a hospital, COVID showed us all that we can do better in serving patients while they're at home, right?
Yep.
And it was a big hype around Belong during COVID because everybody was looking for ways to provide service, outpatient kind of services, and we were just there when it happened. So a lot of hospitals kind of wanted a way to serve patients, reduce unnecessary ER admissions, reduce unnecessary doctor visits. And they kind of found us, and we're just there to help them during those times.
Awesome. Well, as I think about it, is there a story maybe or an experience with a patient on the platform that you could share that kind of illustrates the value of having a patient community? Is there an example that you've had, where you've seen the patient, not, it's interesting, it's anonymous, but that a patient told you like, hey, you did this for us?
Yeah, well yes, we have hundreds of thousands of thank you Belong for helping us. So, picking a story would be quite difficult, but, in a lot of things, there's something I see, in common in a lot of the stories, the kind of success stories of Belong within patient journeys, is that first is the moment of diagnosis. They are so overwhelmed, they are so stressed, they don't even pay attention to
They're
what
in denial,
the physician.
maybe.
Yeah, some of them are in denial, and around them there is a lot of very, very scared family members that they only see the blackest pictures that can be.
Sure.
So Belong is also a place for caregivers. So what we see, as success is the patient that comes and meet other patient who has already a track record. And we make sure they meet each other on the platform so that they can educate them, they can encourage them, they can reduce their stress levels. And then they can take them hand by hand. And then we have also our experts to address a lot of questions, because when you're out of your oncologist office, you still have, dozens of questions that you haven't asked. And the next time you'll see him is like in 3 months from now or 2 months from now. If you're lucky, right? There you have a lot of doctors that can address all your questions while you're at home. They will not tell you what to do, right? It's not a medical advice platform, but they will explain to you what the protocol says, how it works, what your physician will consider as the next step, what you should be prepared for. These things are reducing stress level. Something that I see very often, people do radiation. And when they're back home, they have this burn, like with breast cancer. We have this very specific use case. There was this lady who had that has breast cancer, and she had some radiations. And she went home, and a couple of days after, there was a lot of burns around her left breast, and she was horrified about this. She actually took a picture. She kind of blurred part of it and said, "Is this normal? I'm so scared. It looks like, it's look awful." So another one sent her a picture in return and says, "I had it after radiation. Here is how mine looks like 10 days after."
Wow.
Relax. This immediately reduced her stress levels.
That's great.
And not only this, she was told to put this specific cream at the hospital, and that other patient said, "Well, listen, there's another cream that I use. It works better. Maybe you want to try it out." And she used it, So it's an off-the-shelf, it's over-the-counter thing. So
interesting. No, I mean, you're right about that. I actually had an incident with a family member that potentially could have had cancer. And they said, "Oh, by the way, let's do the test and we'll let you know." And then we ended up going to Hawaii for a month. And they were supposed to call us, and they never did. So for that month in Hawaii, we're like, "You might have cancer," and we don't even know it. So I understand the stress that you're describing. That's fascinating. What a great story. I think the other thing, you're CTO of the company. We're here at HIMSS, technology's ruling everything. One of the biggest topics is ChatGPT and large language models. Talk to us about how you're approaching that and how you think that's going to impact your product.
Yeah, we're actually already in this, pool of technology, of AI-driven kind of language, generative kind of things. So we're already in there, and we actually already have today an AI mentor within the app that is completely powered by AI. Now the beauty of it is everybody knows, well, most of us already knows what ChatGPT is. But ChatGPT is a great solution, and its main data, source of data is the internet. And the internet is where you have articles, is where you have publications, where you have some forums. But we are sitting on a gold mine of 7 years of patient journeys with cancer, with a lot of data, of course, anonymous, right? Sure. And if you take an AI brain and plugs it into this data source, then you'll get a highly specialized AI machine that can address patient questions in a very detailed manner. So I can I can show you an example, or maybe I'll share a video with you of how it actually looks like. But so we have an AI mentor on our platform now that is powered by a GPT technology, but educated and trained on our data, which is a different experience than what you have.
It's all about the data.
It's all about the data. Data is king. And then we also wrapped around it some other functionalities that you don't see with technologies like ChatGPT. You can do a group chat, so it can refer to different people making this conversation and understand the context of the whole group chat, not just specifically your question. Because with cancer you have your care team with you, so you want to speak the AI mentor, your doctor, maybe your spouse, your child, all in one big group. And then you can ask questions, and the AI mentor will refer, not generically, will say, well, there are these things you can do, there are this thing you can do. So based on what I know, based on the protocol, based on the data, it seems like most patients will do the second line of treatment of that, and they will experience this and will experience this. This is based on real world data, not a bunch of articles on about an internet or blog post. That's a different experience. So we're already there, and it's real and it's amazing.
Awesome. No, I mean, it's the most exciting thing that's happened since, $36 billion of stimulus for EMR, which was exciting in a different way.
Yeah, true.
Awesome. Irad, well, I appreciate you taking time. Where can people go to learn more about Belong Life?
Well, you can visit our website at Belong.life, and you will find any of our apps over there. If you simply look for the app itself, you can go to the Google Play or the App Store, type cancer, multiple sclerosis. You can do with or without the word belong will be there. And just download, sign in, no question asked, just fill in the form, stay anonymous, and we will be happy to provide value for you and your family members.
Awesome. Thanks so much. I appreciate you sharing your insights and perspectives. And thanks everyone for watching and listening. If you want to find more great healthcare IT content like this, be sure to check it out at healthcareittoday.com or search for Healthcare IT Today in your favorite podcast application. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, John.